Hello and welcome to Social Media 101 for businesses in Module 4, which is all about creating engagement. Because engagement really means that your potential clients are moving forward in the relationship. In the last module, I told you how it is so important to move them along the line to deepening the relationship with you, because it means that they're building know, like, and trust with you. And engagement is one of those things that is a sure shot sign that they are really liking the content that you're putting out. They're appreciating it, they're finding it engaging, which means that they are on their way to deepening the relationship with you or your brand. So in this module, we will be covering engagement. Why do you need engagement? We will be covering how to create a customer journey map that drives engagement, and how to create the content that drives engagement on social media. So, first of all, we'll talk about why engagement. So, social media engagement is more than just accumulating followers across your social media platforms and simply broadcasting your content and just shouting at them will not allow you to have the reach reach as many people as you want to, or even have the traffic that you want to lead to your sources. So this is a quote that Facebook had put out. Interacting with people is associated with greater sense of well-being. On the other hand, just scrolling through your Facebook feed, passively reading or watching without interacting with others tends to make people feel worse. So look at this quote from your potential customer's point of view. And I don't want you to go into this doom and gloom cycle now or obsess over your engagement. Because these days I definitely see people engaging in passive engagement when they will just read and scroll by or skim through, but they register the information super quickly. But again, like if they are commenting, if they're liking, if they're messaging you, that is definitely a sign that they're being inspired, or they're more engaged, or they have really felt what you have put out in some way or the other, because that's the only time that they will take some sort of action. This is the second reason why you should have engagement, is social proof. And I hate to admit this, but this is how human brains work. Social media engagement really extends beyond the number of the followers you have on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, connections you have, or the number of likes you have accumulated on your Facebook page. But of course, it has a bearing on how your business is perceived by someone new to that page, someone new to your business who can be a prospective customer eventually. And I want to say that, like, how you engage with your fans, it's really going to trump this part, which is the social proof part. So how you engage with your fans is really going to force people to pay attention, because they feel heard, they feel you're engaging with them as a person. So that definitely trumps this part. And then the other reason to have more engagement, it helps you to reach more people. So increased engagement really boosts your brand awareness. It helps you to spread that post, that message, marketing message that you're putting out to many more people. So every time an individual or a person interacts with your social media post, the overall awareness of your brand increases, because Facebook and other social media registers that content to be engaging, and they show it to more people. So someone simply just following or liking your page won't always show up on other people's feed. However, if they're liking and commenting on or sharing your content, that's what's going to help boost that reach, and the social media platforms are going to spread your message far and wide, because they love that you're putting out the kind of content that the people are loving, and they really want to keep the people on their platform for as long as possible. And lastly, overall, it deepens the relationship with your audience, and it is just so much more fun when the other people are actually talking back to you. So, instead of you just sending out the content in void and really not knowing how it is landing on the other side of the screen. And just overall deepening of the relationship is just such an important reason to pay attention to your engagement, because that is the whole purpose why you are on social media in the first place. Now, we're going to be talking something called customer journey map. So the best way to visualize how a customer interacts with a business is by mapping out this journey. So most customer journey maps, you can create an Excel sheet which outlines all the key events and your customers' motivations and the areas of friction within their experience. That could be one of the simple ways of doing it, and I'm going to show you in a minute how you can do it just on a piece of paper, really. But this journey map is all about like how your customer move from being a stranger to really having that know, like, and trust. And then you can create the content based on the stage they are in that relationship. So this is a very simplified version of that customer journey map. A stranger becomes interested, and they engage their mental faculties in what you're putting out, your content, your business, what you have to say, your voice, like all of the things that your brand is all about. And then they eventually become buyer. So breaking down the customer journey phase by phase and really aligning each step within these goals, and just mapping out your touch points accordingly will really maximize the chances that your people move through all of these layers. And so it's your job to really take your customers, potential customers who are strangers at one stage, and really hold their hand and make them interested, and then turn them into buyers. And you put out the content at each stage in a different way. So to connect with more customers, you need to think more like your customer. Sounds counterintuitive, but it is so true. You have to put yourself in the shoes of your customers and analyze the steps or the stages a customer take to accomplish their goals or meet their needs through your business. So the few things that I would like to highlight here in this customer journey map is you must always create the content based on where they're at in their journey. So as a stranger, they need to know a different kind of things, like they need to know about your company, about your mission, who you are, what you're all about, versus someone who is acquainted with all of those things and now they're just sort of making that purchase decision, versus they're just on the brink of that, making that decision about you, whether to buy it or not. And they just have last few questions, like how do they pay, what will they get, what happens after they have made the payment, and things like that. So at every step of the way, their questions and the content would look different. Now, other thing to consider in this point will be how and where will they find you. So where will they find you will be on social media, because social media is, again, just to simplify, it's full of people, full of potential buyers. So that's where the chances are that they will find you. What do they need to hear and know to work with you? So these are some of the prompts you can use to really map out your content in these three different stages. Does your content accurately reflect your brand? Are your visual marketing, is your the posts that you're putting out really match the tone and the voice of your brand? Have you done that work to set up good foundation so that there is coherence and there is consistency across your brand, across all the channels? Super important, so that people can really learn to register the same message in different ways, and then they learn to really associate those message with your brand. Other question to ask is my business information consistent across the platform? So like I said, all the information you should be paying attention. Is it all consistent across the website, social media, other platforms that you're using, your email? Oftentimes I see what people say and do on social media. Their website would look different. They would have a different feel. It would say different things. So there is this disconnect when someone goes from social media to your website. There should be some sort of coherence so that they don't get that like shock of not knowing where they are. Is your messaging clear? So I have touched on this earlier, like the tone of voice, the actual message, your visual marketing, the brand voice, and the actual problem and the solution that you're talking about. All of those things that create marketing message overall, are they all clear? Must really pay attention to that you're talking about the same thing, maybe in new different ways, but it should be all clear and coherent across the channels. So think about where your audience is in their journey. So it is likely that you would have predominantly your people in one stage of the journey, and then you will be moving them through. Also depends on how established your business is, would determine where your audience is in their journey. So, you might have a lot of old repeat buyers. So what kind of messaging would they need? They would need very different kind of message, versus if your business relies on having new customers all the time. So it is hard to get people engaged if you don't know actually who you're talking to. So the sort of language and the tone and the resources that resonate are likely going to be different for, say, for example, a skateboarding company versus a garden supply company, right? So now when you have an understanding of who is following you or who you're targeting and why you want to reach them, you are ready for this, that what should you tell them. So the content that is helpful to the audience really addresses their pain points. Again, like we touched in module 3, think conversation and not broadcast. I will say this again because it's an important point that businesses often forget. Think about having conversations, two-way conversations, not a broadcast shouting at them. So relevant content and creating those touch points will create engagement. When they think and they read and they consume the kind of content you're putting out and they feel that it is relevant for them, they will consume, they will engage with your content in some way or the other. And next, I'm going to give you some prompts. These are some prompts that you can think proactively and answer to. These questions will provide an insight into how your brand and business can become a better source of information for your potential customers. And, in addition, possible objections will be a great way to create an insight into particular persona, such as they might have some concerns about your product or your service. So really think about all of those things. So I'm just going to go over these questions. So how do they like to interact with your brand? How do they learn about product and service like yours? What are the other items that they have purchased in your niche? What do they engage with in relation to your competitors? What are they most active? Where are they most active? When looking for solutions to their problems? And what content formats do they engage with? If you answer all of these questions, you will have a good understanding of what kind of content and what kind of formats you should be creating. So just use these as prompts and just jot down your top thoughts about as answers to these questions, and that will give you a very good understanding of how to map out that content plan. Now, how to create content that actually boosts engagement. So I'm going to share a few tips on actually making your content more effective. So again, people look with their eyes. Oh no, there is a phrase, right? Like, that goes like, people eat with their eyes first, right? And that is so true on social media. So have you ever stopped scrolling on social media to read like this big huge wall of text from someone you don't know? Probably not. And then when brands post like this, this is a reminder that always use eye-catching images, because otherwise your people are just shooting straight past the post. If you want to market and make it effective on social media, make a rule to add an image to most of your posts, if not all, because that's what stops the scroll in the first place. So turn concepts into graphics. So really take advantage of this. And, we talked about repurposing your content in the last module. So when you're repurposing your best piece of content, turn them into infographic as well. Make them charts, make graphics, or other kind of imagery about those concepts. So that really helps them to consume it in a different way. Like, some people are readers and some people are just visual people. So that would really help them to consume what you're putting out. And make it easy for them too. Like, it's easy to just look at the graph and quickly consume what you're trying to say, versus like reading line by line in a big post. The third one is to grow your audience, and a sure and a fast way to grow your audience is also increasing tons of engagement while growing your audience is through running social media contests. You can get people to like, comment, and share to join. You can get users to like your post and share with your friends to enter the contest. There are many different ways to create a contest. You can get them to tag a friend, and the more friends your audience tags, the more entries they get. The other way could be that you get your users to generate the content for you. The users create posts around a particular topic, sharing their excitement. Maybe they are wearing the same t-shirts that they have purchased from you if you're a t-shirt company, and they use a particular hashtag, and all of that content gets collated under that hashtag. So there are many different ways to grow your audience, but also increase your engagement at the same time. You could give away something to your audience and, really make it a condition for them to enter that giveaway. Add social media buttons to your email newsletter. One of the very simple things that you can do is just add social media buttons in your email newsletters, in your signatures. And you might think social media and email are competing marketing channels. They are not, because they work really hand in hand. And a great way to use them is by doing exactly this, to really put the link of your social media to whoever you're sending out those emails to. And then everybody asked me, should you take the time to post stories on Instagram and Facebook? And the short answer is yes, yes, and yes. The longer one is that over 500 million people saying that they use Instagram stories every single day, and 62% of the consumers say that they discovered a new brand through stories. You just don't want to miss that opportunity. So definitely do create stories and reels on Instagram, but stories on Facebook, and also just in line with this, what I mean to really put out here is just create like rich content, which means like videos, which could be like doing lives. Like, they all go under this category, but definitely use stories if you are not using stories. If you are talking to the camera, even better, because people love to see the face of the brand or the business they're engaging with. Okay, so in module 5, this module we covered all about engagement, and in module 5 we will be talking about social selling and old versus new model of selling. We'll also talk about the concept of funnel. You might have heard this term before. It basically, in simple words, it just means how to convert your followers into clients. And we will also go over 5 tactics you can use to start selling on social media. So I will see you in module 5.